Hello and welcome to Growing in Suburbia. My name is Nicole, and as you can see, it's Christmas time. So last week I showed you how to make some Christmas cards using different techniques like potato stamping and some other stuff. Check the video out, I will link it somewhere and definitely below in the description. And today we're going to make some napkins. Now these are really large, basically dinner party size, so they are ideal for your Christmas lunch or dinner with the family. They're very festive and beautifully elegant looking. But you can obviously make them smaller as well if you would like to. They make fantastic gifts. 4 or 6 is a great number if you would like to gift them. The main thing we are learning today is how to make mitered corners. So this is a mitered corner. I hope you can see that, where these seams beautifully meet in the middle. And it looks tricky, it's actually really easy. So I will explain that in a minute, okay? And in the end, I will also show you some folds, like this cute little Christmas tree fold that you can do with your napkins to decorate your table for Christmas. Before we get started, I will put up a list of all the things that you might need for this project, and then let's get to it. Look at that delicious fabric. I will be using some linen fabric, which is this one here. That is 100% linen, and this one, which is a blend of cotton and linen, in my work today. Now our napkins are gonna be approximately 47 centimeters square, which is roughly 18.44 inches. I looked that one up. I will put all the dimensions and all the measurements down below. So we are gonna have to cut out a square that is 50 centimeters long on each side, which is 19.69 inches. So we're gonna start with that now. First we need to straighten out our fabric a little bit. If you can do this on the floor or on a really large table, it'll be a lot easier for you. I struggled a little bit to get it to stay on my tiny little desk. Then I cut off the selvage to give myself a straight edge to work from. You can definitely cut 2 at a time by keeping your fabric folded over, but because I'm using linen and it is quite slippery, I decided to just cut 1 at a time to get it as straight as possible. Now make sure you take your time when you're cutting it, because it is important that it is square for our mitered corners that we are going to do in a little bit. Now once I have my edge, you can see I am marking 50 centimeters at the top and bottom of the fabric, so that I have the first edge marked out with the dimensions that I need. And next I am measuring 50 centimeters towards the other selvage, and I am making 3 marks at 3 different points to ensure a straight line, because my quilting ruler is just a little too small to use for that. And next I am carefully lining up everything to be straight and square. And then we are going to connect those marks we've just made. Now for this you need to use a solid ruler. I'll be using my quilting ruler. The tape measure is not going to work for this one because it has to be like a solid edge that can't move. So you line up your solid ruler with those marks that you have just made and connect them, and that will give you another edge that is parallel to the one that we made when we cut off our selvage. Make sure you take your time and check everything. Now we have both of our straight lines. I'm lining up my ruler on the edge with the half-inch mark on the actual cut edge and draw a nice straight line across, connecting our two edges, and then I repeat that on the bottom as well. I'm sorry that's a little bit hard to see here because I did not move my fabric far enough up. Next we cut out our square. I love using my rotary cutter, but you can absolutely use scissors for this step as well. It pays to be extra careful and pay attention and be extra neat with these steps because it will help you later on when you're doing your mitered corners, when everything is actually square. And there we have our first napkin. Now repeat that for however many you are making. I'm making 4, so I'll cut 3 more. Now sometimes, especially with linen, you may need to square up your napkins a little bit because it is quite shifty. As I said, I'm working on a very small desk, so when it hangs down, it drags it, it gets it out of the nice square shape I put it in. So if your edges don't line up 100%, don't be shy and just square it up by using a ruler, trimming off a few millimeters to make it perfectly square. I had to do this on one of my napkins too. I just folded it to match the edges to check and used my quilting ruler and rotary cutter to make it square. My cats have been with me this whole time. They've been incredibly sweet. And this is Ash. He's having a little snooze next to me while I work. Hello, Ashy. Alright, back to work. Next we are going to iron our edges. Now we need to fold over our edges a 1/4 inch. That's the first step we're doing. I have this incredibly cool seam gauge that I'll show you in a second. And there it is. And it has all the different measurements, and I really love using this because it is very handy. But if you have one of those ruler style seam gauges or hemming gauges or hemming guides, I'm not sure what exactly they are called, you can use that as well. It pays again to go slow and be exact with this one, because we want perfectly square corners on this. Excellent. Now we've tucked that under a 1/4 inch. Now for our actual hem. I decided I want mine to be 1 inch. I'm going to use my little hemming guide again. You can make yours larger if you would like to, but that means that your napkin is also going to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to go around all of my napkins now and iron over this 1 inch hem. Now if you have more than one napkin, obviously repeat both of those steps for all of your napkins so you can batch sew and you don't have to go backwards and forwards between the sewing machine and the ironing board. Be nice and neat, it'll pay in the end. And there we have it, that's our 1 inch seam. Next, for the mitered corners. Now for this we need a ruler, and I like these air erasable markers. You can use something different if you prefer that as well. But make sure you can't see it through the other side. For the mitered corners, if you use a 1 inch seam like I do, you have to put your ruler that you are using at the very corner. Now I have to turn mine around so I can read the measurements correctly. So you need to measure double the hem, or hem that you are using. So as I said, I'm using 1 inch, so I'm measuring 2 inches from the corner. And I'm measuring that into both directions, so 2 inches from the corner. And then I connect both of those marks that I have made with one line. Alright, let's look at that again a little bit more up close. Now we use our ruler. Remember, I have to turn mine around. It's a little awkward, but we'll get there. So if you're using 1 inch as a hem, use double that, so 2 inches that you measure from the corner, then you make a mark there, and then you do the exact same on the other side. Measure 2 inches from the corner and make a mark there. Now you need to connect both of those corner marks that you have made with one line through. There you go. Now do that with all of your corners, and remember, if you are sewing more than one, it is much easier to batch that now and do it for all of your napkins before you go to the sewing machine. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is pin. So I do love clips, however for this one I'm going to use actual pins. Now remember, we made those marks and we connected them to each other, and now we're going to fold over our napkins so the right sides are together. I'm just redoing my marks on the edge so I can see them a little bit better. And now we have to line up our marks so that they are matching. I'll show you that a little bit closer now. You can see that's the mark I made on one side and that's the mark I made on the other side, and they have to match. They have to be lined up with each other. Now hold on to that and then pin it in place so it doesn't move. Perfect. And now repeat that with all of your other corners as well. Match them up. Next thing we're going to do is sew. Just use your normal settings and your normal everything. Use a coordinating thread if you want. What we are going to do next is we're going to sew along the line that we drew from the back where we folded it to the front where the little marks match up. And don't forget to backstitch at the start and the end of your sewing. And there we have it. Repeat that for all of your other corners and all of your other napkins. If you're using an air erasable pen, be sure to work quickly. I made the mistake of leaving my sewing overnight, and then I had to redo some of those marks, and it pays to redo them though, because you want it to be straight. Oh, Indy. So I walked away to get a drink, and yeah. My sweetest assistant is coming back to have a look at me. Okay, now we're done with the sewing. You can see that's the line. And now we're going to cut off the excess corner about 1/4 inch away from our sewing. And now we turn it inside out. I am using some very blunt scissors. The tip is not sharp at all. If you don't have any of those, chopsticks are fantastic to turn corners. And there you have it. Our corner is turned. It is nice and exactly as it should be, nice and square. Now we repeat that for all of our other corners. Cut it off about 1/4 inch away from where you've just sewn, and then turn it inside out and gently poke it out with either a chopstick or something that is not sharp or spiky that can poke a hole through your fabric. That would be devastating if you did that by accident. There we go. It already looks really nice and neat. And he's still watching me, but he's decided to just sit in a comfy chair now and give himself a little wash. Next we're going to finish up our hem. I like to set my machine to a 3 stitch length because I think it looks nice. I'm using the zigzag just to position my needle in a different spot because I'm using this nifty little foot that is kind of like a guide. I think it's used for quilting, but I use it as a seam guide. If you don't have one of those, that's totally fine. You just use your normal one and do about a 1/16 to an 1/8 away from the inside edge. And again, repeat that for all of your napkins, and there we go. Don't forget to backstitch at the start and at the end to make sure it doesn't unravel itself. And here we go. We are finished with our napkin. Beautifully stitched and so neat. You can have this professional finish too. You just have to make sure you pay attention to all the square bits and take your time. I always rush things. Don't rush it. Take your time. I'm gonna give them another quick iron to make sure they're nice and flat, and then we're basically finished. You should be very proud of yourself because those are very neat and tidy. And listen, now you've got something that you can use for all sorts of other things. You know how to do mitered corners now, so you can make mitered corners for everything. Listen, I walked away for 1 second, but I guess that warm, freshly ironed is just too nice to ignore. So Indy's having another little perch on my ironing board, and look, he's left me a few little holes in my napkins as a reminder that he loves me. That's okay, they will sort themselves out. And now that we're finished making our beautiful napkins with the incredibly professional looking mitered corners, I also wanted to show you a few folds that you can use for your Christmas table. Now the last one is a super classic one, but make sure you check them all out and tell me which one you prefer the most. Okay, let's get folding with our beautiful napkins. Now the first one we're going to make is a little Christmas tree. Okay, first we are going to fold our large napkin in half and then in half again, so you have a small square. Now turn it so the opening is in front of you, and then you have to fold it up, leaving a small gap around the folds, and repeat that with all of the other bits. Once you're finished with that, turn it over, and then you fold the sides up, sort of a third in, and then tuck in the bottom in one of those to keep it nice and tidy. After that, you tuck under those little pointy corners, and there you have your Christmas tree. Nice and easy, and it looks really beautiful on a plate. This next one is called the Poinsettia, like the flower, and I did this last year. It looks fantastic. So you turn it upside down so the good side is facing the table, and fold in all of the corners. Now once you're done, fold in the other corners once again to the middle. Once you're done with that, flip it upside down and then fold the corners into the middle again. Now, once you're finished with this, make sure you hold onto the middle a little bit and then put your hand behind the napkin and pull up the folded corners that we did before. And there you have it, such a beautiful thing. It is actually quite easy, but it is very impressive looking. Now our next one is going to be a very simple one. Make sure you again put the good side on the table, and then we fold our napkin in half, and then we fold down the edge about a third and turn it over and fold both sides into the middle, sort of a quarter in, so they meet in the middle, and then fold it once more, and there you have it, a very easy and stylish pocket. Something a little bit more modern where you can put your cutlery inside. Now this one is a classic, I'm sure you have seen it before. Fold it in half, fold your napkin in half, and then you kind of zigzag fold up your napkin the short way, almost all the way. So you have about maybe 5 centimeters left at the end, about 2 inches. Once you're there, fold it in half so that what you have just folded up is in the front, and you fold it over like this. Now you need to open this up a little bit and fold the remaining 5 centimeters, tuck them in a sort of triangular shape, and then you have to stand it up like that and let go, and it will sort itself out. There you go. And there you have it. Those are all our beautiful folds. And I hope you have a lovely celebration, and you can use some of those beautiful napkins as gifts or as decorations for your own table. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for some more leading up to Christmas. Now next time we are going to actually make some napkin rings to go with our beautiful napkins. So absolutely make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on this one. They are so cute and super easy to make, and they make such a beautiful decoration on the table. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.